Hey guys, here from Token2049. Really just here with Nate from Bitte and Harshit from Near Foundation to talk about some exciting news for the Cardano community, but also for Web3 and where we're going with experience design and simplified engagement for the masses and how we get more folks on board. So I'm really looking forward to talking with you guys about where things are going. But Harshit, big news for Near Foundation and Near community today, getting access to Cardano community. So I want to talk a little bit about Near Intents.
Yeah, absolutely. We're honored to be working with the Cardano community. Input, output, the team's been phenomenal to work with. With Near Intents, we plan to enable a lot of flows from other ecosystems into Cardano and assets natively on Cardano. So enabling this sort of seamless interoperability with the ADA ecosystem is something we're quite excited about.
Awesome. And Nate, your team at Bitte has been building a lot of user experience forward stuff for years now. I'd argue probably one of the best builders in when I was in the Near ecosystem, kind of growing out and really now focused on AI. Like, how are you seeing folks engage with Intents today, and where are you seeing things going with AI?
Yeah, definitely. So Intents and usability, right? We built one of the first wallets that used passkey before Base did their thing. We've been ahead of the curve on a lot of different elements. Our focus right now is natural language to conversation. It's how most humans will interact with blockchain in the near future, which is now. With Intents, it's fascinating because you don't even need a Near wallet to actually do some things. So for us, we're kind of a world where you can connect any wallet, whether it's Phantom, MetaMask, the Sui Slush wallet, Cardano wallet, and it's a world where you can say, well, we can just use this little piece of the puzzle, which is Intents. We can connect our Sui and Cardano wallet and be able to make swaps happen, knowing that those two wallets are connected just by a single prompt. Like, I need this token, how do I get it? Well, you have this on this, you can swap it for that, then you can execute, and then you can go do something on MiniSwap, right?
Sick.
So it's a very componentized system.
So when you're thinking about Intents, how are you seeing ecosystems most engage with Intents? Is it most on tooling side and building to make more seamless user flows, or are you seeing people mostly doing swaps? What's the main thing that you're seeing folks do?
Yeah, I'd say just most all across the board, but mostly it's enabling wallets or users to stay within the experiences that they like within the native ecosystem. So Nate gave a very good example of users living inside the Slush wallet on Sui, but they want to have exposure to certain assets on Cardano. They can do it simply via this one-click API that's abstracted on the wallet level for the users, and they can just interact with any assets on the Cardano blockchain. So that's one of the experiences we're quite excited about. The other is actually enabling builders to build net new primitives. So if we can unlock, for example, a native lending market where users can deposit ADA as collateral and then take out stablecoin loans from any chain, I think that's quite powerful. So we do see some traction on those fronts as well.
So, I mean, both of you guys are building on a multi-chain, right? So you're across multiple chains. We've all worked on multiple chains. Thinking about that, where do you think users are going today? To your point, native experiences are pretty important. Like we have the Lace team that's a wallet. And so thinking about how do you actually get multi-chain faster, what are you most excited about the multi-chain experiences?
Well, I think the multi-chain experience, number one, needs to be driven by AI. That's hands down. We built the very first prompt where you can interact with multiple dApps on multiple chains just from a single prompt. So this is where everything is heading. We saw with ChatGPT that people are using websites a lot less.
Search has tanked.
Exactly. And so now the onboarding experience for blockchain is just, I've been doing this since 2014, started a company in 2018. The onboarding experience has been slow, but progress has been made on the wallet front. But for me, AI is that now we can actually build super dApps because almost every dApp you use, you have to do multiple steps before even using the dApp. Take Hyperliquid, for instance.
Yep.
In order to get started, you have to bridge Arbitrum USDC, right? And so if someone's not familiar with that process or how perpetuals work, they can come into the prompt in Vietnamese and say, how do I get started? Well, you don't have any Arbitrum, but we see you have on Base 800 USDC. Would you like us to bridge that using Intents as just that small primitive where the main actor is just the Hyperliquid agent, but being able to bring Intents as just a small component as part of that step? This is where AI is just
change the game. And essentially, you've obviously engaged in a number of communities. We're not your first interaction from a community standpoint. How are you finding teams from outside the near ecosystem actually engaging? Are they cautiously optimistic? Do they feel like it's a vampire attack? Like we have Midnight, so we actually get a lot of the same kind of energies when people go, nah, you must be doing something. What are you trying to do to us? Like, what are you most excited about for the ADA holders and Cardano community?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I generally see that people are more excited than skeptical. I mean, the fact that you can now enable any Aptos, Hyperliquid, Bitcoin, XRP holders to just natively have exposure to ADA assets. I mean, this is very exciting for them and for the ADA ecosystem. We've worked with IOG and a lot of other stakeholders that we know in the ecosystem. All of them are excited by the fact that we're now moving towards the future where there's a lot of DeFi primitives standing up on Cardano in the near to medium term, and then these assets will have users from all over crypto being able to engage with them. I think that's very exciting for them. From our standpoint, in the long run, we definitely want to move towards the future where it's agents being the front end for users. It won't even be wallets. It will be something that lives, on a phone or something. And these agents with just a single prompt, as Nate mentioned, will be able to move assets and orchestrate these assets, not just on-chain, but off-chain as well. So giving this access of going into the ADA ecosystem to anyone who has Swiss francs or Indian rupee would be quite powerful. And that's the future we're enabling with their intent.
So a lot of on-ramp, off-ramp opportunities.
Yes.
I mean, you guys, you obviously know of Sneck and some of the communities that we have too. So it's funny, I was at a Pudgy Penguins event last night and seeing the number of people engaging with things off-chain. All I could think too is how are you actually going to get more people that aren't in these rooms actually playing with it? Yeah. It sounds like intense AI-driven engagements are actually probably where we're going to see the masses. I mean, Nate, you were dropping NFTs off buses and things years ago at Art Basel and at other events and doing ticketing and all of that. And you're actually seeing all those things start to happen now. And I think about, hey, how do you actually do Ticketmaster and how do you do private transactions? We have Midnight growing out of the input-output ecosystem. And so thinking about where's the future actually going? Like, what are you most excited about for people using AI and engaging with something like Intense?
Yeah, so like you said, there's we've done a lot of deployments, beers, and at a festival outside of Berlin, in the middle of nowhere. We've did activations with deadmau5. We've done so many different things, but it always kind of fell flat either on the onboarding side or the asset pegging side or somewhere. We would have museums coming to us saying, we need a custom contract that does these specific functions. So we were heavy on the NFT side. Now we took a bit of a break from that, knowing with all that information, all those things can happen, but I think AI needs to drive it. So if LVMH comes up to us and says, we want to peg all of our, fall assets, you need an agent to rip through their CSV files to auto peg those assets. Then we're getting into this world where if I can go on to CowSwap and say, can I swap this for this? How can I earn money? I mean, the smart contracts, as we know today, are really easy for AI to integrate. But if you start pegging these assets like LVMH, we're getting in this new world where you could say, hey, what was that red handbag worn on episode 2, season 3? Can I buy 3 and send one to my, sister? That's the future. And so the first step is smart contracts are just so easy. They're pre-built. All the DEXs, DAOs, they exist. AI works really well with it. All you have to do is build context. Like, this is what proposals do I have? Can I vote yes on this? We create 2 parameters. We trigger the function, and we integrate with the wallet. That's all we do. So it's the future. I think traditional finance is going to FOMO once they see how much more we can do with this open system. Because you can't do that with Amazon. You can't do that with Airbnb. No developer can create a transaction for Airbnb or for Uber. That's all privately done. Our AI system,
or even Grab here in Singapore.
Yeah,
you can't Uber anywhere.
Yeah, so it's amazing. I think Web 2 gave us the aha of going from brick and mortar to good. You can go on Amazon.com. I think Web 3 gives us this aha of any entrepreneur or developer can build transactions in a creative way, hopefully get a protocol level fee out of it, and that's the real boom.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, a lot of people don't think about the LVMH moment, and it's funny, as you're saying, I'm like, come on, LVMH has tried these things, but then I'm thinking, again, I was at a Pudgy event last night, and I'm going, well, screw Pudgies for a second, like, think about Labubu, right? You think about, and not really screw Pudgy, I love the Pudgies. But when you actually think about the idea of a Labubu wearing like Prada or LVMH things, or the ability to have things that are collectible and then swap them, like these are things even kids could engage with if it's as easy as AI. And so obviously we're not pushing, and nothing we say is financial advice. That one's for the lawyers. But thinking about how brands are going to engage, like things like DEXs and all of that, are any of them even going to want to engage with that? Because it sounds like financial tooling. Like we all know that blockchain and crypto is financial infrastructure, but unlocking mass value and mass engagement. Where do you really see things going? Do you think you're going to have an LVMH going, oh, I'm going to go to CowSwap or whatever? Probably not. I think we're at that, like you said, Amazon.com. You don't even talk about .com anymore. Like it's not even a thing.
The step is easy to see. So not for a bit, but what we'll see, and probably those discussions are happening now, is integration with CowSwap. They're doing 12 billion in volume in the last 30 days. You have financial companies like Revolut trying to give access to their users to DeFi. You think they're going to go and open up a swapping UI to figure out how to do this? No, they're going to chat in their chat like they're used to be able to say, now you have access to this. Here's the guardrails of what you can and can't do. You can't just go ping a random smart contract way over here, but we want to give you access to, let's say, Lido for your staking needs, a CowSwap, and maybe Snapshot DAO as a thing. Or
actually, thinking about that, right? DAOs, we don't hear much about it. When we were all together at some point, there was an attempt to sell a commercial team. When you think about DAOs and community engagement, like AI is clearly going to play a role there too. The ability to say, hey, I want to vote on governance upgrades. Like we don't even get that much percentage of voting population in the United States. So when you think about government level down to the Labubu or Pudgy communities, like how do you see community engagement happening? Because I don't think you'll hear them being called DAOs anymore. It'll just be, to your point, natural language talking about what do I want to see happen in my world? Like what do you think is going to happen in the governance side of things? Because an LVMH brand, right, they have shareholders. What if shareholders could actually vote more often and have an opinion about where the company goes?
I mean, it actually ties up to the point that you guys just raised about companies basically having their own assets being put on the blockchain. We have now Stripes of the world and Revoluts of the world coming out with their stablecoin and financial products, which are wrapped around on-chain DeFi primitives. So we've moved over the past 4 or 5 years, we've moved the space from, DeFi is just for speculators and degens to, okay, DeFi is actually something that enables money 2.0 and is critical for, like, if a Web 2 or TradFi company doesn't adopt DeFi primitives in 2 years, they will feel left behind because this is where the puck is going. And I think, the idea about how government and regulators would engage, we already see Robinhood coming out with their tokenization platform and issuing tokenized stocks. So enabling anyone across the world to have access to stocks from any share market in the world, like, you don't need to take off over the weekends in the blockchain space. You can buy assets and engage with these assets whenever you want, wherever you want. And that's really the community experience collectively that we can enable through such primitives like intents and tokenizing assets that can be tradable with intents across any blockchain. So that's really this community collective that even regulators are now opening up to. I think that will unlock a lot of value that we haven't seen yet.
What are your thoughts there? Governance and how the world changes with intense AI, where things are going, the ability to easily swap. Like if you only hold Bitcoin, and let's say Bitcoin is everything to you, you can now cross-chain almost engage anywhere without ever having to hold.
I actually built our Snapshot agent personally because I was like, well, I have a company, I'm an engineer, I might as well build an agent. So I chose Snapshot specifically because I think that that just explains the problem so clearly. Like, let's say you want to vote on a Uniswap DAO. You don't have any Uni, right? You don't have anything on Ethereum layer 1. You can use the intents to go ahead and bridge whatever asset to the thing. And then you can say, now swap this for Uniswap. Hopefully use the Uniswap agent for that. And now that you've got that covered, then you can start voting. Maybe you add another function, which is the delegate to actually start the voting. A lot of people don't understand how Snapshot works. Now they can't vote and they don't know why. It's because you have to have that token when that proposal was created. So it's a time difference. People don't understand that. There's not really an explanation.
It's like, I just hold it now. I can vote on anything. I demand it.
And think about that. You then go, great, I swapped a token, I now own it, and I delegated, but I still can't vote on this proposal. The AI agent can say, well, this is how it actually works. The proposal was created before, so come back.
You're actually saying service experience will get better overall.
Yeah, and you would lose a user there forever at that point, right? I couldn't vote on it. Now I didn't know why. I don't want to go spend 3 hours on docs to figure it out. I'm going to leave. But if you have nice guidance, something that can easily say, I share your pain, you get it. And this has been answered 30 times and it's right there in your prompt. And this is almost every DApp experience. How many customers are people losing because they just got stuck on a step that maybe would take one extra transaction to happen or one extra day of wait time or something along those lines?
So when you think about that, the idea of, hey, I don't have to figure out how to do it. You're still going to have to do seed phrases and ledger and all that thing, those things for security. But it's almost like the wallet wars are over in some ways, like the ability to never have to touch a wallet or know that you have a wallet.
Wallets are great. Our system connects to any wallet. So we're not doing, anyone who's doing an agent framework where they're booting up a wallet for the user, they're going to get left behind. They're doing it completely incorrectly.
It makes me think Wells Fargo, hey, you get a home mortgage, you get a bank account too.
Yes, it's really the backwards solution. So wallets have spent a decade on onboarding, on security, on all these different steps for mobile or not mobile. Like, it's a really complex problem that people don't understand. If people are saying, here's an address that you have to use for my app, you're stuck going to their web page forever. Our system, we actually use XMTP. So any agent on Bitte can now be used in the new base app, which will be deploying next month.
Sick.
So now that we have that, we're just building the transaction through conversation. Once the transaction's up, the user can click approve, they sign with the Coinbase wallet, and that's going to happen on everybody else's wallet. Any wallet that's building an AI agent system themselves are going to get completely left behind as well.
So would you say that they should be building with Bitte instead of
They should all be building with Bitte, because it's not just about swapping, right? You could do that.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, but it's very delicate. It's being able to get the network effects of all these peggings of different contracts and getting that done correctly, and having that sort of network effect start kicking in. Because then if you're a wallet that just does swapping or maybe staking, you're just going to keep adding little features rather than have one system where any pretty can build their own agent and expand on any chain, whether it's Cardano, Midnight, Sui, Solana. We're launching this week with the Jupiter agent.
Well, I think to that point, we're seeing a lot of communities come together, right? So the idea of, hey, is this a vampire attack? Like I said, we get the same energy from input output when we're looking at things like Midnight, because people go, well, why would you be building privacy on Solana? You guys, your company built Cardano. You have to only be building Cardano. And it seems like the world's actually moving much towards how do we collaboratively build together. So I think what I'm thinking for near and near intense, it sounds like it's really a tooling opportunity to actually start to build the future and make it more seamless. The idea that you can actually use your ADA for something more than just things in Cardano actually makes the world bigger. So when I'm thinking about expansion, like, what would you, if there was anything you could see happen, what would you love to see happen with people in Cardano community?
Yeah, I mean, so one thing that is immediately available, we announced the integration, I think it was last night, or this morning.
Depends on the time zone.
Yeah, depends on the time zone. It's always weird. But we have this one-click API, which very neatly packages the whole network integration as an API for any developer or front end. Now, what we could unlock and what we are unlocking right now for the ADA ecosystem is any front end that basically wants to have exposure to the Cardano network will not have to go and spend 6 weeks doing QA audits and a lot of stuff that is needed to integrate a new chain. They can just switch on ADA swaps and enable that chain in their distribution flows through near intense one-click API. So we already have teams like Infinix, ThorSwap, Kyber Network. They can just turn on the Cardano network and allow their users who already have a lot of assets and traction on these platforms to start trading Cardano and assets on Cardano as well. So that is something I'm very, very excited about. And our approach has always been not only just announcing an integration and getting done with it just for the sake of it, but really pushing forward with second layer integrations with teams across ecosystems. So we do have ongoing work with teams in, let's say, Solana, Sui, DEXs on Sui, and we can enable them to create markets for ADA assets, all while being a Sui app. So that's pretty powerful.
That's awesome. I mean, Nate, you've been building things forever. Like, what would you like to see built? Obviously, you'd like to see building with Bitte, but with something like Near Intense or in Cardano community, like we care at Input Output a ton about privacy. Realize, how do you unlock the power of Bitcoin? You need a privacy layer. That middle layer is what's starting to become frictionless. What would you love to see built if there's anything? Chain agnostic.
Oh, I mean, identity is a big one, right? That's that still hasn't really been solved. Like, it's that whole theory of I have 3 different wallet addresses. One of them is specifically for exchanges that need a little bit more detail. The secondary one would be, you know, a little bit more info. A third one is full anon, and being able to switch wallets for certain dApps. Certain dApps require a certain connection with whatever that is, and the AI agent can rip through the wallet and sort of do a quick analytics of good person, kind of a shady person, or like,
hey, why are you looking at me like that?
So, I mean, I'm actually surprised. Like, a lot of people tried this. 3box was one of the first ones to really hit this. It didn't really come to fruition. I think the last administration was very hard, so it really didn't matter KYC, because none of these institutions could even really start. So I think now that they're all jumping in, I think that's a new paradigm that can be tackled right now is nailing that sort of system.
So you'd say you're actually happy about regulation in a lot of ways. Regulates the opportunities in.
Yeah, I'm always somewhat pro. I mean, my background is working with clearing firms, Apex Clearing. The old app was you swipe your card at Starbucks, we give you fractional shares of publicly traded stock as a reward. So becoming and interacting with that database, you had to, you know, pay Apex Clearing, you know, 50, 60K starting fee. You have to become a broker-dealer to even, like, get close down the line. That could take a year. It's expensive people to do all this process. That regulation is dumb. Like, clearing firms, the technology is horrible. Like, they're sending CSV files and email broken down to... It makes no sense because it's just a database. It's a trusted database that functions like a old steam engine. So... once we have something that's much easier to work with, then the new regulatory weird world is going to be, okay, who can buy these assets? You know, who is the, how can we protect consumers? That's the main job of FINRA, right? It's, yeah, there's a lot of questions. I don't have an answer.
Nah, and I mean,
reduce the barriers.
We're coming up on time on our session, but I think the biggest piece here is about bringing communities together.
Yeah.
I think oftentimes you see in Twitter and other places like super pro one chain conversations. I think right now, you know, we've seen you guys are working with Zcash and a number of others.
Yeah.
We want to bring people together. We want to start having people actually engage. Like you said, Nate, AI is really going to be the wrapper for a lot of this stuff. So I think it's actually more natural for people to come together, start to remove some of the tribalism, and frankly, just get building. The intent here is actually to show the world that companies can work together, foundations can work together, people at the end of the day have to work together.
Yep.
So I'd say my intent here is to get everybody building, make some cool shit, and actually make that future happen. So thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Cheers.